Thanks for joining us for a special Week in Review show. We'll take you through all the top stories of last week. First tonight, the driver of a transport truck sentenced in Orangeville after causing the crash that killed a former Olympic figure skater. CTV's Mike Arslidis reports on the details of the case and the penalty handed down.
Sukhwinder Sidhu has been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for killing Alexandra Paul and injuring 4 others, including her 10-month-old son. Sidhu was behind the wheel of his transport truck for more than 16 hours when he crashed into several cars in a construction zone nearly 3 years ago in Melancton Township. Sidhu pleaded guilty days ahead of his trial to dangerous driving causing death and bodily harm in the horrific crash along County Road 124, August 22, 2023. Alexandra Paul was on her way home from the family cottage. She was an Olympic figure skater from Midhurst alongside her husband Mitch Islam, who described the life-shattering consequences of Sidhu's actions. "The family I dreamed of will never be whole," Islam telling the court of losing his wife and the mother of his little boy. Islam described marrying the girl of his dreams as partners on and off the ice for more than 12 years. Their son, who was pulled out of the wreckage by Sidhu, was taken to sick kids with a broken leg. The court heard Sidhu in the midst of working for 26 hours and driving for about 16 straight, was traveling at 108 kilometers per hour, nearly double the 60-kilometer-an-hour reduced speed limit. The other drivers heard in the pileup, along with Paul's family, delivered victim impact statements as well, speaking to the pain his actions caused them, ruining their lives, devastating their health, hopes, and dreams. Paul's mother said, "What was taken from Alex hurts more than what was taken from me," adding, "The world is not the same to me anymore." Alexandra Paul was a star at the Mariposa School of Skating in Barrie, representing Canada in the 2014 Olympics. Paul's father telling Sidhu, "What happened that day was absolutely soul-crushing for all of us." Before being sentenced, Sidhu addressed the court, apologizing, saying, "Not a day goes by where I do not think about the life that was lost. As a father of 2 baby girls, one of the hardest things to live with is thinking about Alexandra's son. My actions took a mother away from her child. That is something that breaks my heart and will stay with me for the rest of my life." The defense had asked Sidhu serve a conditional sentence of house arrest for 2 years less a day, saying he did not make a conscious choice to cause harm. Justice Clayton Conlon called the crash a disaster and unimaginable carnage, pointing to Sidhu's record of speeding, adding, however, "Today is not about vengeance or retribution," disagreeing with the defense that Sidhu's actions were a result of a momentary lapse in judgment, saying the professional truck driver's actions resulted in some of the most profound consequences that one could imagine. Upon his release from custody, Sidhu will be banned from driving for 7 years. Mike Arslidis, CTV News, Orangeville.
Honda is indefinitely suspending its plan for a $15 billion electric vehicle manufacturing plant in Alliston. CTV's Luke Simard was in the community to find out how people there are taking the news.
After announcing a 2-year delay last May, Honda has indefinitely halted plans to build a new EV plant in Alliston, leaving residents questioning the automotive giant's decision.
I'm a little surprised because right now, the EVs are supposed to be the thing that's in.
I'm disappointed but not surprised given what's going on in the world, and hopefully we can do it in a couple of years or so.
A little disappointing because everyone in the community was expecting the expansion. It would have been good for employment.
As word spread, businesses also weighing in on the decision.
Honda cutting the EV plant is certainly a setback for the town. Although, we have to be clear that one announcement doesn't define Alliston. Alliston's strong.
The EV plant would have created more than 1,000 jobs in the community, now obsolete.
The trickle-down effect of that potential not being realized, 1,000 new employees, is obviously impactful.
That's the sad part, because we do need jobs here, but we also need housing as well. So we have to house those people.
Pacific Manufacturing Association of Canada represents the manufacturing interests of Canada's 2 largest automakers, including Honda, saying consumer trends show hybrid electric vehicles continue to be in high demand.
They reduce tailpipe emissions by 25 to 30%. That means you're paying less at the pump. And it also is, really important for affordability, especially in this day and age. And so hybrid electrics are selling really, really fast.
Despite the setback, Mayor of New Tecumseth is remaining optimistic of one day seeing an EV plant in the town.
We haven't given up hope. We think it's just a small hiccup. We're going to get across that finish line. We're going to make it come to reality. We are definitely going to get that plant.
It is believed to be business as usual for the more than 4,200 associates currently employed at HCM. Both plants continue to build various models of the Civic and the CR-V. And last year alone, more than 400,000 vehicles were built at HCM in Alliston. Luke Samard, CTV News, Barrie.
Government also reacting to the Honda announcement at Queen's Park and on Parliament Hill.
There are 11 millionth vehicle rolled off the assembly line quite recently. They've been here 40 years. They've told us they're here to stay. They have more than 4,000 employees. The Honda Civic is the #1 selling car in Canada, has been for 26 out of the last 28 years. Honda makes great products. They're here to stay, and their employees are safe there.
It's a decision about additional jobs, not current jobs, as you know, in Alston, but it's a disappointing decision. It's a decision that reflects the broader strategic position and financial position of that company. It's part of a global series of decisions that they've taken.
For now, Honda Canada Manufacturing says it will continue to build hybrid electric Civic and CR-V models in the area. The northern part of our region is known for its year-round beauty, attracting millions. But with the price of pretty much everything up, CTV's Rob Cooper takes a look at how it's faring this season.
With the skyrocketing cost of fuel, almost everyone is keeping an eye on these price boards along the highway. With the long weekend fast approaching, many people plan to stay close to home to save a few bucks.
It is too high, that price. I was looking over there, that is very nice price, but I forgot and fill up my car.
The value of the Canadian dollar is also a big concern for potential travelers with the summer just around the corner.
Beautiful weather today. Looks like we need to get that tree taken down.
The Sherwood Inn in Muskoka Lakes sits next to Lake Joseph. It will return to fully operational status this Friday after being open on weekends through the winter. So far, bookings look solid for the summer.
Right now, we're seeing all of our booking patterns. We're pacing ahead of where we were last year again. So, and last year we were pacing ahead of the year before.
Now, the executive director of Muskoka Tourism says hotels and local resorts are pacing ahead of last year's vacancy numbers by about 3%. It also feels that high gas prices will be a big factor in people summering closer to home this summer.
Being 2 hours north of the largest population in Canada certainly is a benefit to us. Normally represents in the neighborhood of 85 to 95% of our business.
Massive blue bladders placed along the Muskoka Wharf during the recent flooding were removed today, just in time for the Winona II to begin its sailing for the summer. Its first cruise is set for May 20th.
Typically in a year we'll get 35 to 40,000 passengers. Last year we had a bit more than that because of a few factors. This year we're expecting the same or a bit more.
Many of the resort operators we spoke with today say they're seeing an increase in the number of international visitors too. Welcome news for an industry that depends on a strong summer season. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Bala.
Still to come, the crew of the Artemis II mission in Ottawa. A moment of political tension between us and our neighbors to the south. That and more news this week. A bail hearing for a Barrie man accused in a jewelry store smash and grab caught on camera at a mall in Oshawa, where shoppers helped wrestle the suspects to the ground. CTV's Mike Arslides reports.
Colton Peters McComb is now out on bail after spending 39 days behind bars. The 22-year-old from Barrie was released from jail to a loved one who pledged $7,000 to secure his bail under strict house arrest conditions. Peters McComb is accused of robbing a jewelry store inside the Oshawa Centre Mall in late March, along with 4 others. Peters McComb was one of 2 men from Barrie. Durham Regional Police said were taken into custody on the afternoon of March 29th when shoppers took them to the ground following a smash and grab that involved bear spray being used at Bellagio Jewelers. In several videos, the would-be thieves are seen being subdued by a handful of men, including one with a chokehold. Police charged Peters McComb with robbery, possession of a prohibited weapon, wearing a disguise with intent, possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000, conspiracy to commit an indictable offense, and 4 counts of possession of drugs. The other Barrie man arrested is 40-year-old Ryan McPhail. He remains behind bars. McPhail faces many of the same charges. Police said he was already banned from having weapons on him. He is already up for assault and uttering threat charges in Barrie. 3 of their co-accused 19, 17, and 15-year-olds from Mississauga and Brampton were arrested outside the mall with help from the K-9 unit. 19-year-old alleged getaway driver Romario Angelo Abraham is an aspiring actor, now charged with 4 counts of robbery, possession of stolen property, and mischief, according to Halton Police, who announced 8 arrests connected to what investigators described as an organized group of suspects targeting about a dozen businesses across the GTA. Police also revealed Abraham was charged in the Michael Hill jewelry store robbery in Barrie 2 weeks prior to the Oshawa smash and grab, along with 21-year-old Krishan Scott of Mississauga, who faces 9 robbery counts and breaching a release order. Barrie Police had appealed for the public's help, tracking down those responsible for that March 17th Georgian Mall robbery. Following his release from custody, Peters McComb is scheduled to make his next appearance in a virtual Oshawa courtroom in 2 weeks' time. The allegations against the accused have not been tested in court. Mike Arsledy, CTV News, Oshawa.
The Premier continues to face fallout over his government's flip-flop on a recent purchase of a private jet. Documents show taxpayers are on the hook for nearly $200,000. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris reports.
It's the big buy that just keeps hovering over Queen's Park.
For months, this Premier was putting his hands in the pockets of the people of Ontario.
Newly released documents from the Premier's office show the government put a down payment on a $30 million jet in January. We didn't find out about the purchase until mid-April. The public anger was loud.
I believe it was the right decision, but if people don't want it, we aren't going to do it.
Doug Ford turned that jet around.
We gave it back to Bombardier, the exact same price. No one lost anything.
Though there were questions about whether there was more in the details.
Anything that is extra, or maybe there's nothing extra, we'll make it transparent.
We now know there were extra costs, more than $139,000 for aircraft maintenance, inspection, and training, another $33,000 for legal services, and $18,000 for acquisition support. The extra cash totaling nearly $191,000.
So I want to ask the Premier to stand up and tell us, will you pay the people of Ontario back for your midlife crisis gravy plane?
The Premier away from Queen's Park at a pair of events reporters weren't invited to. The Minister of Economic Development spoke for him.
The Premier has made his comments on the jet. We're really focused on the economy.
No direct answer from government officials about whether a payback is coming.
No taxpayer should be on the hook for the Premier's private luxury jet, especially when he's been misleading us for weeks now that there would be no cost to the taxpayer.
The expense, a drop in the bucket in Ontario's $244 billion budget. But the interim Liberal leader says it's telling.
It's a Premier who's tired and lost his way because he doesn't understand the reality of everyday life in Ontario.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
There were empty seats in classrooms at 3 local high schools last week as some students walked out in protest of recent cuts to the Ontario Student Assistance Program.
Save our futures! Save our OSAP! Save our futures!
Teens from Barrie North, Eastview, and Innisdale secondary schools rallying against the Ford government over changes to OSAP loans. At the center of the controversy, a hike in tuition and a significant drop in the amount of grant each person is eligible for. The fear, student debt will skyrocket.
On the walk here, we saw $1.84 gas prices. Housing has gone up. Everything, affordability is at its worst. These changes to OSAP, what they are doing is they're making everything more unaffordable for post-secondary students.
Well, we hope our MPPs, that their voices, provincial parliament, affect us in how we live our lives and our post-secondary lives.
The changes to Ontario's student aid program come into effect this fall, including the end of a 7-year tuition freeze. The crew of the Artemis II mission continued their media tour with a stop to meet the Prime Minister in Ottawa. It was smiles all around and a message about Canada's contribution to space exploration. But it was also a geopolitical moment during a time of tension with the Americans. CTV's Annie Bergeron Oliver reports.
We didn't really see this either because this is so cool.
It was a different kind of moon mission in Ottawa today.
I think we saw that crater.
The Artemis II crew giving Prime Minister Mark Carney and a group of students special insight into their epic 10-day lunar flyby mission. 12-year-old Louis Castro Lopez among the middle school students who got to ask the astronaut questions.
Yeah, I watched the astronauts and just to come here, like to meet our school was, wow, amazing.
Fellow 7th grader Annabelle Busby Sheridan did too, and she got to hold a piece of meteorite from the moon.
It was such a privilege. Like, I never thought, ever that I'd ever be able to meet them.
Splashdown confirmed.
The visit to the capital comes just over 1 month after the 4-person crew splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean.
We surpassed the furthest distance humans have ever traveled.
Following a groundbreaking mission to the far side of the moon that captured the world's attention. Canadian Jeremy Hansen getting a special thank you from Carney.
This is the flag that flew on the day you splashed down.
Oh, wow.
Hansen's trip into outer space was his first, and it was also the furthest any Canadian astronaut has ever traveled.
Canada very much went to space, and I rode on your shoulders.
That Canadian pride on full display at each stop in the capital, where fans, young and old, were inspired to reach new heights.
I want to be the first man, and if it's possible, to walk on Mars.
The Artemis II crew will now head to Montreal, where the astronauts will share more about their thoughts on the mission at the Canadian Space Centre tomorrow. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Still to come on CTV News Week in Review, the Colts season comes to a close. The team reflecting on the season that was, as some of the team's stars set to move on. That story coming up on CTV News Barrie. Despite coming up short of the championship, the Barrie Colts won the hearts of the community with their 2026 playoff run. The entire team came together for the one last time last week to reflect on the season that was. CTV's Luke Smart has more.
Rangers are Ontario Hockey League champions and will lift the J. Ross Robertson Cup.
Heartbreak for the Barrie Colts as its playoff run came to an end last night, losing both the game and the OHL championship to the Kitchener Rangers.
We made it really far, and obviously not the way we wanted to end in that last series, but I'm proud of the group.
Definitely a tough pill to swallow. Yeah, words can't really describe this group of guys.
Today the Colts meet for the last time this season, cleaning out their lockers. The team is preparing to say goodbye to its veteran group, including Cole Beaudin, Kayshawn Aitchison, and Emil Hemming.
The crowd and the fans here are unreal. The support is something special and crazy here too. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without them.
After last night's game, head coach Dylan Smoskowitz was asked about the disappointment of losing.
The only thing I'm upset about, and it's heartbreaking. I love this group. I would trade every game I ever played as a player to relive this season. That's how much this year meant to me.
Not lost in the defeat, the progression of the team and the sense of pride of being a Barrie Colt, especially for rookie Cole Emerton, who grew up 35 minutes north of Barrie.
I came to games when I was little all throughout my childhood, so playing for the team you grew up watching is definitely something special. Even my dad played here, so just to keep the family tradition almost going a little bit there is pretty cool for me.
Team management believes they can go on another deep run next season.
We believe this team's deep. We believe we're going to lose some key pieces, but yeah, that's junior hockey, and it's amazing how other guys, step in and fill holes.
As the offseason begins, speculation continues to grow about the sale of the Barrie Colts. Williamson said he hasn't been told anything, only saying that owner Howie Campbell is committed to the Barrie Colts and wants to bring a Memorial Cup to the city. Luke Samard, CTV News, Barrie.
Many hands make light work, an old saying brought to life at a local hall. With every stitched poppy, an important message.
I really want to keep the celebration of Remembrance Day in the forefront for our younger generations.
The Cascading Poppy project taking shape in cold water. The public helped with handmade poppies. Now the group hopes to make 6 bird net blankets with the crocheted knitted poppies attached. They'll hang from rooftops, bridges and landmarks ahead of the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Legion. But the group's looking for some help.
We will take as many volunteers as we possibly can. We could use more crocheters, more knitters, or if people would like to donate cans of Scotch Guard.
If you want to help, bring your lunch, a pair of scissors and a crochet hook. The group meets Mondays from 10 to 2 at Matchedash Hall. A local dog team's qualified to represent our country in an international contest. Barrie-based Flyball Club, some rough competition, will take part in the 2026 Flyball Open World Cup in Norwich, England later this month. The event, featuring 75 teams from across Europe and North America, running from May 29th to 31st. The team will be overseas for 7 to 10 days to allow the dogs to get adjusted and rest after they travel. Some compare it to a fine wine. Seasoned athletes who've won 4 consecutive provincial championships, even though they've only been around for 5 years.
And to my knowledge, no other team has won provincial championships 4 years in a row.
Nancy Black heads up the Georgian Bay Squall Masters swim team. They've won 76 gold medals, 56 silver medals, and 61 bronze in individual and relay events.
An adult program like ours, an adult master swimming program, is very good for their physical well-being, their mental well-being, and social health.
Why do I do it? It fills my heart and my soul. It just brings me so much happiness.
Next year, we're talking already about Strive for 5.
We're the Georgian Bay Squall!
The Georgian Bay Squall is now sending 78 swimmers to the national competition in Windsor. And that's a look back at the top stories that made headlines last week. From all of us here at CTV News Barrie, we hope you enjoy your holiday and have a good night.